Hey, and welcome back to IT Conversations, still live at VMware Explore 2024 in Barcelona. This morning I just attended my first session, a session all about the PUs, and next to me was one of the presenters, Dave Morera. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
So Dave, before we dive into all of the technologies, we are a fellow passionate scuba divers.
That's right.
So any scuba diving you did so far in Barcelona, unfortunately?
Oh, not in Barcelona,
No.
I wish. Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm missing, usually at this point is where I do my cave diving.
Ah, nice.
And I'm missing going down in the dark places and just be quiet for a while.
Right, so cave diving quite often also requires to go deep. So
That's right.
Kind of a nice segue into
The
a
technology
deep dive.
aspect,
Yeah,
yes.
let's do a deep dive into the PUs, as Pete just mentioned them during the session.
Yeah.
What are the PUs?
So PUs, meaning we're talking about data processing units, so DPU, GPU, that we all know for private AI and workloads and such, and also obviously the CPUs, right?
Yeah, so during the session, it kind of felt like drinking from a fire hose,
Yes.
that much information that you shared.
Yeah.
But let's go through all of those three and kind of the topics that you shared. And let's dive into the DPU first.
Okay, sounds good. So if you're not familiar with DPUs, it's a data processing unit. It's a smart NIC. So it does look like a network interface, but the addition of it is that it has an ARM processor, a high-speed interconnect connecting the accelerator and processor. It also has flash storage and memory, so it's essentially a computer. And it allows us to install ESXi on that computer and offload some services. In this case, we're offloading NSX services to it, so we don't have to use those resources from the actual x86 compute. If you think about that, not only are we making it faster, we're avoiding a hop up to the x86, but we're also returning those resources back to the host. And customers can use that host to exactly what they bought it for, which is the workloads, right? So now you can have more VMs, so that better consolidation ratio. You can have bigger VMs, so better performance. And then you have a physical separation layer there, now decreasing your attack vector pretty much, right?
Yeah, so you dove a little bit into the different types of offloading, cache layers, kind of.
Yep.
So, but you also shared some of the numbers. So what are some of the results that you get from customers who are using this?
Yeah, so we tested this back in 8.0 release, and we had a Redis application, and we were running about 30% lower latency. There was like a 50% performance increase and a better consolidation ratio. But customers ran this after we announced it, and they deployed it, they liked it, and they saw up to 60% latency reduction by running VDFN. So running your firewall rules down at the DPU level, right? It's a lot faster. You have the fast path on the hardware side, on the accelerator, but also on the software side, still on the CPU of the data processing unit, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Now, next up, GPUs. You also covered a lot of announcements, but also the added value of running GPUs inside Cloud Foundation.
Yep.
So what can you explain about some of the details you shared in the session?
Sure. So, GPUs, biggest use case is AI ML, right? Initially, the initial use case was just gaming. Right?
Yeah.
It was cool, right? Put it in a computer.
Which is still
GPU.
cool.
Still cool, yes.
Yeah.
But now we have different use cases, and that could happen with any other devices or the other PUs, right?
Yeah.
So with GPUs, we're working with partners like NVIDIA, AMD, Intel to take advantage of it, not just from the hardware level, but be able to virtualize it. And that's what we do best, right? Virtualize the actual hardware to stretch it out as much as we can and utilize it. So you don't want it to go to waste, especially the GPUs are not cheap, right? So we're presenting different GPU profiles where you can carve out and kind of slice up that GPU. So you don't have to necessarily run the same profile on that physical GPU. Now you can have an AI ML profile running on one GPU, another, let's say VDI on the same GPU. So that doesn't stop you from sharing that GPU to different types of VMs, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and what are some of the typical workloads that you see running on top of VCF when it comes to GPU acceleration?
Mainly, so we're saying private AI, right? Which
Yeah.
is one of our solutions. So private AI Foundation with NVIDIA is one of the biggest ones where we automate the deployment of those DLVMs, leveraging the exact GPU that you have. So we talk to NVIDIA, we download the drivers that we need to that specific GPU and deploy that solution for you pretty much. That's one of the biggest and up-and-coming use cases for GPUs lately.
Right, so let's touch upon the last PU. So You talked a lot about the CPUs as well,
Yeah.
and the different types of workloads that you can run. Like obviously, we've been virtualizing x86 workloads for, well, I don't know, decades.
A few years.
Yeah, it feels like decades. So, what were some of the topics that you covered during the session?
So in one of the sessions, it was more of a bonus session, there, part of the session, because I want to tell customers that there's quite a bit of information or features that out there on the CPUs that they may not be aware of. They may not be using because they don't know, that can help them get started with workloads like private AI or just AI in their environment. So, for example, Intel CPUs, they're Generation 4, Generation 5, they have an accelerator within the chip called AMX, Advanced Matrix Extensions, and that allows them to run AI workloads like a Llama 2 chatbot, for example, running on that specific VM. So if you have a small use case, maybe 8 users running a chatbot at the same time, they can leverage that and they can play with it. They can deploy a solution internally, and then they can move up to bigger things like upgrading to a GPU for more capacity and things like that. So definitely, people want to take advantage of AI, right? And you have seen the increase in the people really want to leverage that tool. So there's different options right there, and my message to customers is like, look at what you have as far as hardware, not just what you have now, but what is coming. Right? I mentioned also CXL technology, which is something that we're looking at for memory tiering. So memory tiering allows you to increase the availability, how much memory you can have on a host without having to go out and buy expensive RAM. So easy way to reduce your footprint in the data center as well.
Yeah, and coming back to the topic about CPUs, there's two things that really stood out to me. First thing you mentioned is that VMware is continuously investing and in innovating when it comes to exposing, and that's something I think that people take as a given.
Yep.
Like I have a version of VCF. I'm upgrading now. I'm buying new hardware based on Intel CPUs or AMD CPUs. It should work. It should work, but there's much more to it than just virtualizing that CPU. Exactly. Exposing all of the features that come with the CPU package is really important going forward.
Right.
And a link to that is, and I was amazed by it, you showed on one of the slides that you're using Llama 2 13B, which is a 13 billion parameter model. That's a huge model. Yeah. And you were able to run it on CPU, using AMX acceleration, and the average latency was 100 milliseconds.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Pretty decent.
That's probably this hardware that's already existing in a lot of our customers' environments, right?
Yeah.
To your point, we work very hard and spend a lot of time with customers creating this or passing these features out to the customers. We really don't make new features per se, but it's a key value that we add through VCF, right? We spend a lot, maybe people don't realize it, but we spend a lot of time and effort there to make it easier for the customer. So definitely take advantage of it, not just from the hardware side, but we're exposing that on the virtualization side as well.
Yeah, and this is also like one of the things that we see in customer deployments is like they have no, like EVC, I think one of the most important features you should enable in a cluster and be aware of what impact it has. It's quite commonly underestimated. People are just like either not using it or configuring it in a way that it does not get the most out of the physical platform you have and expose those features to the virtual platform.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
definitely something we need to mention.
Yeah.
So it's day 3 of Explore.
It is.
We still have a full day on Wednesday to look out to, and maybe some things on Thursday as well. Anything in particular you look forward to?
Completed my sessions pretty much. I have a lot more sessions coming up, and I have another podcast with Pete, the Virtually Speaking podcast.
Check that out.
We're going to talk about memory tiering on that one, which is cool.
Is that the project formerly known as P-Berry?
Yes and no. So Project P-Berry is the one we're leveraging CXL technology.
Yeah.
Right. Project Capitola is the one where we leverage NVMe devices.
Yes.
It is the same end state pretty much, which we want to do the memory tiering portion, but it's definitely something that customers should be looking at. I think it's going to be a pretty cool feature for our customers that we're going to offer at the vSphere level. Definitely take advantage of that as well. And
awesome.
so that's something else. So speaking of CXL and P-Berry, right?
Yeah.
That would depend on what type of CPU you have. So if you're doing planning, make sure you check that out and don't get the cheapest, get the latest and greatest, because it will benefit you in a big way.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing this. So if you have any questions about the PUs, so CPU, DPU, GPUs, definitely be sure to have a look out at the session that Dave is going to record with the Virtually Speaking podcast crew as well. In the VMware Explore content catalog, you can find all of the sessions that Dave has presented, and in a couple of weeks from now, I'm pretty sure that all the recordings will be available for you to watch. If you have any questions about anything that Dave has just mentioned, that you need any help with, you know where to find us as well. Dave, I want to wish you a great conference going forward, a safe journey back, and a lot of scuba diving in the future. And I'm pretty sure we're going to meet up in the future and do some scuba diving together.
I would like that. Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and be a lookout at the next video we'll do live at the conference. See you there.